it's your time, your time. Bye-bye.
Hello everyone, and welcome back to the Agent Spotlight, the show where we sit down with real agents working razor-edge leads and pull back the curtain on how they get their results. I'm your host, Ayo Bakare. Now, today's guest, I'm really genuinely excited about because she's one of probably quite a few people who've worked razor-edge leads in the past, decided it wasn't for her, has come back and is having a fantastic experience. And this story alone is worth the episode. Alyssa Marshall has been in insurance since 2015. She's a licensed broker at Lumina Financial Solution, a mom who's built her career around being present for her kids, and someone who's learned the value of this product in the most personal way possible. Now, in March of this year alone, she decided to give herself another shot at razor-edge leads, and thankfully she did, because since then she's written about $98,000 in APV and over $47,000 has hit her bank account. And she now is on track to hit, hopefully, 40,000 APV a month by November. Now, please welcome to the program, Alyssa Marshall.
Thank you, Ayo. Thanks for asking me to be here.
It's a pleasure to have you on, and you've got a great story, which I'm sure many people will key into and connect with as well. So talk us to 2015. You got into the insurance business, in health insurance. What made you choose the insurance business in the first place?
Not anything exciting, really. I had just moved to Nashville with my husband and our first daughter, Amelie, and we found out we got there, we got pregnant with our second, and kind of one of our goals in moving to Nashville, we had previously lived in Chicago, was getting out of debt because Illinois state income tax is way up here and Tennessee's is zero. There is none. So we were like, oh, we get a raise. Let's do this. And so part of that goal was to get in, get out of debt and, both of us be working. But with two kids, a huge value for me was to not go back to work to pay for daycare and then have some extra after that, like not to be involved with my family and be with my kids. And it was just a huge value for me to be home. And so I started looking at just anything that was where I could build my own schedule. And so that meant I interviewed with a guy to do, sell knives, like any of the things. I was in a previous life, I was a Starbucks manager at 3 different Starbucks in Chicago. So I know I can sell, I can handle people.
Mm-hmm.
Found the health insurance company I worked for, which is a captive agency. And I was so this seems cool. You can make money, but I have to pay for a license. That's so shady. And I was talking to my mother-in-law. She had been in the States. They live in South America. And I talked to my mother-in-law about it, and she'd been doing her degree in counseling. And she was like, Alyssa, I have to do 2 years of school. I have to do 2,000 supervised hours. And then I still have to take tests and get licensed. You just have to take a class and take a test. And it costs you $300. Try it out. What's the worst that could happen? And I was like, okay, sure. That's a great idea. So I did, because the idea was we didn't have any minimums or things like that at the time. And so I did. I got licensed and I got into it. And the guy who headed up that agency was perfectly motivational. And he was like, if you put, I don't know what it was, 120,000 or 90,000 in 13 weeks, something like that, I'll pay for your BNI seat. And I knew that I needed to leverage networking. And so I just killed it. I went at it. It was a very different system to what my brokerage works now, which was intentional why I chose them. And so I did that. I networked. I was part of the BNI. I bought my seat. I made $120,000 the first year, working 20 hours a week and being available for my kids. And I was like, okay, I like this. And I like that we were working private insurance. It was very non-conventional around the time that the ACA was live or die by the Affordable Care Act. And people didn't know that they had other options, legal other options. And I was like, yeah, let's go. Kind of always been a rebel in that way. Oh, you said we have to do this? Let's see how we can avoid that. And I loved it. So I did that from 2015 to 2018. And then in 2018, my oldest daughter at the time was 5, was diagnosed with cancer. And I had gotten all these different policies on us. And because that was a commission, why not have all the policies?
Let's see.
And she was diagnosed January 9th with a super rare bone cancer. Only 40 kids a year get it. And that changed our lives, obviously. But because I had insurance, I got a $30,000 check for her cancer diagnosis. And I got $800 a night for every night she was in the hospital for 30 nights. And then on top of that, money for medications and stuff like that. So just with that alone, we made over $56,000, and I didn't have to stress about working. And there's so many like miracles and just generosity that happened in that year, but it reframed our whole life.
Of course.
My
Yeah.
husband had been working remote for a long time, and so he just kept working remote, and I just like mommed. We lived in
Yeah.
the hospital. We took care of her in our middle,
Yeah.
and so I stepped away from working, and it was the right thing to do, obviously, for that time. And then 2019, we did all the things. She finished treatment December 2018. She was in the hospital for a full year. 2019, we started the year by getting pregnant with our third, kind of unexpectedly.
Yeah.
We did Amelie's Make-A-Wish, which was Disney and all the Disney princess things that you do. And then, school back to normal. And then the world got sick with COVID.
Of course.
And so all of a sudden I was like a homeschool mom, and I was like, okay, well, actually, I kind of wonder if I'd be good at this. So I homeschooled for 4 years, and 2 years into that, in 2022, we decided to go on a 9-month RV trip around the United States because I didn't want to be in Nashville anymore. We were in Nashville, and I was like, let's see what else this country has.
Sorry.
Hey, why not buy a 1-ton truck and a 43-foot fifth wheel? We've never even carried a small trailer from U-Haul,
My gosh.
but sure, we can back this thing up. And we learned a lot. Just an aside, my marriage advice for anyone would be, if you don't have a strong marriage, don't do an RV trip. It will not make it stronger. It's only for making marriages stronger.
Take that.
And in that time, the whole point of the story is that in that time, my wonderful, amazing, super smart husband was like, hey, babe, I think that all of us would be really ready for you to go back to work. I don't know that this homeschooling thing is working out for you. I'm not a great homeschool teacher.
My gosh.
True. It's true. This is the truth. This really happened. We had so many hours in the car together. We processed a lot of information. And I was like, thank God. I'm so glad I'm not the only one who saw this.
Fair.
And I went back to a bunch of health insurance people, and I was like, what's it like? Should I come back here? And everyone was like, no, go do life insurance. And that's kind of what opened the door to it. I had been headhunted by someone in finance at JP Morgan Chase, and I was going to go do that. And then I heard about, insurance and life insurance and brokerages and how much autonomy, authority that you can have, how you can build. And so that just seemed like the natural next step. Oh, I get to keep my own schedule. We get to keep homeschooling to a minimum. But we did it while I build something. And so that's how I found our brokerage. And I was pretty picky when I was picking them out. I wanted to buy my own leads. I didn't want someone to supply them for me because in health insurance, I had no authority over who I was calling and where the information came from.
Yeah. Gotcha.
So I really wanted to be in charge of my leads. I wanted to be in charge of my book. I wanted to be in charge of my hours. I still homeschooled for 2 more years after starting life insurance. But now the kids are in school. The girls I have 3 girls, and they're in school.
Or in school. Yeah.
With
Had
good
enough.
teachers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thanks, Mom. But no thanks. Oh, what a story. What a story. And I guess it fits really within the lifestyle that you're living at the time, which is moving around, traveling around in an RV. There aren't many jobs that you can do, especially when you're brand new. It's like, hey, I just want to travel and do it, so I don't want to go to the office. Just give me what I need, and I'll make it work for myself. So one of the things that I wanted to touch on as well, because you talked about you're very picky about the brokerage. Like, what are you looking for? What did you look for apart from being able to buy your own leads? Like, what was the things that were driving you to Lumina?
Good question. The biggest things for me, Lumina is my agency that I created. I happen to be married to a brand expert who works with really big brands. So it was like, if I'm going to do this, he gets to brand something and make it. And then I get his buy-in. Yay. I get free marketing and branding. My brokerage is Symmetry Financial Group. I found them because a couple different things. I wanted to buy my own leads, as you said. I wanted a lot of females in the business. Finance, especially this level of finance, doesn't have a lot of females in the business. I had done plenty of MLMs and I just like never was good at it. I never really bought into things, but helping people with money and helping people understanding money as a tool, I loved. And then finding out more about the product. So a brokerage that cares about education.
Yes. Yeah.
Symmetry is awesome at education. They have this university, they have very up to date trainings for you. And I wanted a system. That was it. I was kind of like, where is a successful system? If you're running a successful system that I can just implement and do, great. That's why I worked for Starbucks for so many years. I was a double degree business degree and my thesis was on Starbucks because I was astounded by how quickly
Yes.
Starbucks started and then expanded.
Yep.
And
Yeah.
so when I saw Symmetry, I was like, this is a place that has a system and they're like a virtual version of Starbucks that can just expand. And I get to be basically like a franchise owner without paying for any franchise.
Yeah. That's very
And I
true.
get the autonomy of like me, my personality, my toque, my touch to it.
Yeah.
But I have all of the backing of an incredibly
Big organization.
generous IMO that also cares about agent success, agent leadership. When I was interviewing with them, they were like, we're like a self-development company that happens to sell life insurance. And I was like, that's cute. Are you really? And they really are.
Yeah.
I
Quite,
have
quite,
developed more as a person and as a leader and as a spouse and as a mom since being at Symmetry because it's forced me to become that version of myself, the best version of myself. And it's not for everybody. Not everybody is capable of being as gritty and tenacious as I am. And some people need a commission job and people need that security. But I think when we went through everything we did with Amelie, I wanted a place that I could rise in, but I could be in charge of my own trajectory
yeah.
and
Yeah.
time it took to that trajectory because I recognize that I am in a beautiful season. Amelie is now 14. So I have a 14, an 11, and a 7-year-old. And this
Mm.
is sacred time. You
Yeah.
never get these years back. And
Yeah.
they're sacred and foundational to who is going to be around my table in 30 years. You know?
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
care more about the people that will be at my table in 30 years than I care about the client across from me. But I
Yeah.
care a lot about the client across from me. You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
Makes
I will
total sense.
always have that capacity. I know that once my kids are out of the house, I can go even more bananas in this business or whatever God calls me to.
Mm-hmm.
But if I cannot find a job that allows me to be what I need to be to my kids, then I'm not interested in it. And at the
Yeah.
same time, I have all females. So I want to show them they
Yes.
don't have to just be in one specific type of bubble. They can be smart about certain things. They can be whoever they want to be. They can be I was just with I live in Chile. I live in Santiago, Chile, and I was in a Spanish thing this morning, so my brain is still
Yeah.
speaking Spanish. I was going to say emprendedores, but you don't know that. Entrepreneurs, like they can do that. They have that capacity and they have the ability to be strong in that way, you know? So I hope that
No,
answered your question.
no, it really does. And I think one of the biggest things that you're speaking about was also just being that almost that role model for your kids and making sure that given, this the situation with your eldest, making sure that you're always there, always present, because really that is the most important thing. As you rightly say, people always tell you when you've got, babies, oh, they're never going to be a baby again, make the most of it. But actually in your situation, you're making the most of every single moment in her life and also in all your kids' lives. So it's a powerful thing keying into a role that allows you to deliver everything that you need for your life to be great, and there's not many roles that can offer that. You have the ability to you've got a great brokerage within Symmetry Financial Group. You have great leadership. You've got great teaching. You've got great personal development, and it's all on your own terms. It's all on your own time, and you make as much or as little as you want. It's all on you, right? And so it really is a blessed position to be. And by the looks of things, you're really taking the ball by the horns and making it work for you and your family as well, which is just awesome to see.
I think a lot of it, I mean, honestly, is Razor Ridge leads this year. Like truly, I was kind of at an impasse at the beginning of the year. I know you want to talk about this. I'm just going to go for it. I had been, I had been, I've been in this industry since 2023. Really, I licensed 2022. I lost my license and I had to go get it back. And I built Lumina on bonus leads. I had no problem with that. For me, it was like, if I'm going to be the best salesperson around me, I have to know how to handle objections. So
Yeah.
give me all of the objections. One of
Yeah.
our required reading for our new agents is go for no, because you have to go for no, because then when you get these elite leads, like what you offer, no one has an objection when I talk to them because I already know how to handle it. I know how to
Yeah.
preconceive what they're going to say.
Yeah.
Yesterday, I knew this client. I knew that they were going to be like, we have to think about it. And so I just said, you know what? I actually have to go get my kids. I'm going to give you your prices. I want you guys to discuss it, and we're going to reschedule for next week. Okay?
Thanks.
So they don't even get to tell me they need to think about it. I'm like, you guys are going to think about it. You're going to have your questions. You text me whatever your questions are. That's fine. I have to get my kids. No one else is going to do that, And so it's just like learning that posture. But
Yes.
there became a point where buying bonus leads, there should, in your development as in whatever it is that you do, your development as a professional in your field, there
Yeah.
should be a break point in which you have learned sufficient amounts at the grind to now earn back your time.
Yes.
And you do something in exchange for that. In our industry, in exchange for my time, I pay for higher level leads, right?
Yeah.
So I started doing that. I started going into our A-level leads, and then our brokerage came out with their own digital leads, and I was like, I like that. And I was very successful at that. On average, with their digital leads, I was putting in, on average, like 20,000 a month part-time. That's great. I was happy
Yeah.
with that. But
Amazing.
I kind of got to this, huh?
I said that's so good. You absolutely nailed it.
I did really well at it for the budget I put into it. For me, I think my budget at the time was around 600 a week is what I was willing to put into it. And I made that money back. Now we decided in we decided in 2024, and then we moved to South America in 2025. So my business has kind of been coasting. Like I
Hmm.
haven't lost any money, but I haven't made as much as I wanted because we made this huge
Yeah.
catastrophic move for our families. But as this year was starting and all of the transition of last year was kind of settling, I was like, I need leads that are highly qualified, that I'm very rarely having to deal with. You have COPD and a pacemaker and no kidneys. Like, I don't know, I need to, like, I can't pay $45 for this anymore. I need qualified people. I'm good at what I do. And I don't have the luxury of going and having a networking seat like what I'm really good at. I'm really good at person to person. And so for me, the equal exchange was finding a lead system that has TCPA compliant leads. So I'm protecting my own butt,
Yeah.
has good communication with the lead system and a lot of clarity and honesty. There are some lead types that I'd tried that were like, here's your set point. And then all of a sudden, because of A2P compliance, I'm getting like additional charges because of more texts. And I send a lot of texts. I was like,
Hmm.
whoa,
Yeah.
like there's this price, and then there's all of a sudden all these other prices. I can't do
Yeah.
that.
That's a good point. The loss of more communication. People actually probably don't actually realize it. That happens, right? Got to pay more every
Yeah.
time you communicate.
Yeah. And it's just the clarity of it and the clarity of like, what is it that to me, the value in a good lead is what is it that my lead thinks they are asking for help with?
Yeah.
If I know what their baseline of information is, I can help that.
Yeah.
So for our bonus call-in leads, for example, they're getting a postcard and they think because the words on the postcard, the world is on fire and this is an emergency. And so I learned how to know
Yeah.
it's not an emergency. Like literally, you could hang up on me. That's totally fine. We're just obligated to get you this information. That's it.
Yeah.
But that's what I'm talking about, like overcoming those objections of like, okay, well, do you even know if you need? So to something that you had said, I had tried Razor Ridge several years ago, back in probably 2024.
Mm-hmm.
I had heard about them. Our brokerage was supporting Razor Ridge. So I tried them out. It was a separate CRM. I didn't really quite know what was going on, but I tried it and I was fairly successful at them. But at some point it kind of was like, I, I don't, I don't know in this conversation where both of us are starting, where me and the client are starting at, you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah.
And I don't know what it is that you've seen. I don't know if I'm overcoming this information.
Yeah.
Sometimes I feel like with these high level leads, they are seeing an ad on social media, and the people who are in the picture on the ad are like you and me, young and happy, and we have cute little kids. And for us, it can be very affordable. The people who
Mm.
click on the ad and respond to the ad are 65 and older with no pancreas.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
they've got a problem.
Yeah.
And I was like, this is exhausting. I can do this level of overcoming objection with a smaller budget. So I left Razor Ridge and I left the other digital that I was doing and stuck with the Symmetry. And then earlier this year, I just was analyzing my numbers, analyzing how I wanted my business to grow. I felt like I was still 4 years into this business, giving too much of my time to this like dialing and setting appointments. And so I talked to my husband about it. I was like, I have to find a high risk at the time. This is what I thought: a high risk, high resolution lead.
Mm-hmm.
And our agency, my upline, had absorbed a couple other agencies at the time. And Mike Sudhoff came in with that. And he was on
Yeah.
the new Razor Ridge. And I was like, I don't know about this. And then I started seeing his numbers and I was like, studs. We call them studs. Studs. What are you working? And he filled me in and he was like, they're $90 a pop for the mortgage protection ones, but they're really good. They know what they're coming in for. They're buying on living benefits, not on a huge death benefit. And I was like, dude, $90 a piece. I don't know, man. That's a major financial commitment. And we're just like digging ourselves out of this hole
Yeah.
from this international move. And then I talked to my mentor about it and I was like, I think I want to make this move. I think it's worth it. I
Mm-hmm.
went to Ignite in Dallas
Yeah.
and talked to Trevor Williams, who also was like, don't tell anyone, but these are the best.
Yeah. Yeah.
Trev, I love you, Trev. Trev is so great. And Trev is like my running buddy, So he and I we were just texting yesterday, like he and Joe Chi Moo and Austin Whalen, like I feel like I run with those guys. They're ahead of me, but I'm chasing after them. And
Mm-hmm.
they're just they've spoken into my business so deeply. I'm so grateful for them.
Mm.
And I was like, okay, I think I'm going to give it a go. Then the icing on the cake is sweet Jessie Bacharach, who I've never met in real life. But on the last day, I'm sitting having breakfast with Sarah Pappas and Amanda Sellers, who are Amanda's a running buddy of mine and Sarah's my mentor. And I got there a little ahead and Jesse's at a table over here on a call. And he's like, Razor Ridge is the best I've ever heard of. And he's like strong New York accent. He's just eavesdropping on his whole conversation. Not on the negatives. There were no negative things, but his personal life, I'd zoned out just in case.
Yeah.
I don't know that he did, but I was like, okay, I'm going to do it. And I said, Sarah, that guy's talking about it. And she was like, that's Jessie Bacharach. He's an incredible sales guy. You should do it. Like if he's saying that they're gold, go after it. He knows what he's talking about. So I came home March, whatever, after a conference, and I immediately bought my first Razor Ridge leads. I think I invested between middle of March and the end of April. What did I say that I did? Let me see. I put it to you on an email. I'm sorry.
5K in APV
Yeah.
submit, 23K issued, 19K in deposits.
Yeah. And that was from April to mid-May. I think I maybe had spent at most $5,000 in leads during that time. I think that's even high for what I spent. I think I spent maybe around $3,500.
Wow. What?
And I turned those leads so fast and they were like, I just learned really quickly to say, hey, you just reached out about some life insurance with living benefits. Fill me in. How can I help you? What were your questions? That's literally what I say.
So that's your intro. It's just
That's my intro.
nothing else. No. Hey, I'm Alyssa Marshall. You'll feel that. No. Wow.
No, I just say, hey, it's Alyssa. you reached out about this, and for this, now I do premium life insurance leads, this life insurance with living benefits, and you had some questions about it. What can I do for you? Fill me in. That's what I say. That's it. That's all I say. I
That's
make
brilliant.
them talk from the very beginning,
Yeah.
and I get the why immediately, and it's insane. This morning I had 2 leads pop in. I'm texting one because she has a cold and she wants to talk this afternoon, and the other one I set an appointment with for this afternoon.
So good.
And then I went on my merry way. Like yesterday, same thing. I had 3 or 4 leads come in. I get 4 leads a day right now because I'm doing the pipeline. And I set 2 right off the bat, and 1 hasn't responded and 1 we're texting. Like, and then I was like, what else should I do with my day? I guess I'll follow up on my like May leads and my August leads,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
So it's such a blessing. It's really great to be able to talk to people who are qualified, to talk to people who want information. And when my posture is just like, hey, I'm here to help.
Yeah.
What can I answer for you? And based off of what your questions are, or what your questions are, I give you answers. And I just say, is that what you're looking for? Is that the thing you're trying to solve for?
Yeah.
And then I just say, great, I'm going to do that for you. I work with 50 of the best carriers in the nation. Let me get some basic info from you, or I'll shop you around, and then we'll meet on Zoom so you can take screenshots of my screen and see what makes sense. You take control, and then we'll be taken care of. Does that sound good? And I schedule them, and then I ask them all of the underwriting questions. And there you go.
You make it sound
That's how I
so
do it.
simple. You really do. But you touched a lot of really, really great points on just generally what I've been trying to do with agents. And I think the biggest thing is, as you mentioned, as your skill set increases, where do agents go? You can't be dialing bonus needs for your whole career. That's suicide in my
Yeah.
opinion. You're going to burn yourself out, and you're not going to get that consistency that you need, because you need to be on it all the time. But then, like you say, there's other types of leads that are, you know, direct mail, if you want to call that, where they fill out a post. But even that has a shelf life, because, the response rates are going down. The amount of people just in general who respond to postcards is way low, and it's going to get lower. It's not going to increase, right? Because everything's done by phone or text. And if that's the creme de la creme, what comes after that? Where are other leads types coming from? And I think when I came back into, well, I was always at Razor Ridge, but when I took over Razor Ridge around this time last year, the biggest thing for me was, how do I take what everyone else is doing but make it better? How do I create something which is more about an agent first approach that makes the agent's job easier? Because I think if I can make your jobs easier by just having leads that are more receptive to a conversation, then it means you're not having to do all the dialing and all the, scrambling just to make $1 or, a couple dollars or whatever. And as you said, you have to you've at the point where you're earning your time back, right? And so the only way you can do that is by giving something to the leads that means that, yes, they are probably more dear than most people would invest just off the bat. But actually the results are you're getting people who will speak to you, will want to do something, will want to engage with you with a proper conversation. And you're not having to do that battle of conversion to what this actually is. This is life insurance. Then conversion to, do you actually want life insurance? And then, and then you're having constant battles. Like I said, by the sounds of it, you're making it sound so easy, because it probably is for you, right? Your personality is just open. Give me everything that you know or need, and I'll give you the solution that solves that problem. And I'm glad that I'm able to do that, because I think it's helped you and loads and loads of other agents.
Yeah.
And, it's good to see that the updates that I am bringing is also being helpful in just making sure that you're able to live the life you want to live on the terms that you want to live it as well. So I really appreciate you going into that. And you moved over to the pipeline builder model, which is a brand new model
Love
recently.
it.
Yeah, talk to me
It's my
about your
favorite.
experience. We're what, week 2, maybe, or week 3? I'm not sure which week you're in
Week
right now.
2, week 3 will start Saturday. Yeah.
Yeah, talk to me about your experience.
Well, here's the thing. I cut my teeth on bonus leads, right? Like that's how I learned how to overcome objections.
Mm-hmm.
That's where you test things out, where you do the Jeremy Minor things or whatever it is that you need to learn, and you be brave and you say
Yep.
things you would never believe that you would say, and then you realize, oh shoot, I just overcame their objection, and now what do I say? Like I
Yeah. Yeah.
tested that out and it worked. And now with Razor Ridge leads, because you build all of those tools and all of those scripts and just that knowledge over there, you can
Mm-hmm.
come over here and the pressure is off,
Yeah.
right? Now
Mm-hmm.
it's not about I have to sell every sale. It's about volume.
Yeah.
Now I recognize for me, for my agency, I need to produce up to, my goal is to get to 40,000 a month. It'd be,
Mm-hmm.
I honestly like 40,000 a week, and we're scaling there, but with the proper scaling, 40,000 a month. But because I want to build a very big agency and I need to have the resources to do that. And I need to be able to show my agents this is absolutely possible and you can do it faster than me. Because
Mm-hmm.
now you have these amazing leads like Razor Ridge. Like my goal is to get all my agents on starting on the standards for them to play, and then moving them up to premium and mortgage protection, whatever they like. And so for me, the pipeline idea was, if I'm going to get myself to 40,000 by November, what
Yeah.
is the fastest way that I can do that I can know that I can do it, but I'm
Mm-hmm.
forced to commit to it so that I show up for myself.
Yeah.
Right.
Love
And
that.
then your email about pipeline came through and I was like, and I get a 5% discount.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm in.
Yeah. I'm still going to take a discount. Like I'm a missionary kid. Okay. I shopped at Missionary Closet for clothes. You give me a discount, I'm there.
Yeah.
So I saw the pipeline, and my husband and I go on walks. We have 3 kids. We have no time for dates. We both work from home. So we go on dates by going on walks. And
Mm-hmm.
I said, I'm going to bet on myself. And I need you to, first of all, let me just explain to you. My husband is the first person that will bet on me before I bet on myself. Like he knows me more than I know myself, because I get in my own way and in my own head. And
Sounds like a
he
great.
knows the drive and the tenacity that I have. And he's like, it's not even a bet. It's just an action. Like you just have to do
Yeah.
it.
Just.
You
Yeah.
just have to do it and be consistent. And I was like, okay, you're amazing. And I was at a place. So backstory is, our move to Chile has been something we wanted to do for 20 years.
Mm-hmm.
We finally were able to do it with the consistency of his business and the semi inconsistency because of me of our business, but my ability to like turn it on and turn it off and turn it on and
Yeah.
turn it off.
Yeah.
In that move, like any move, but then add on top of it a different continent move,
Yes.
things took a royal right turn financially.
Mm-hmm.
And some of our stuff was basically like hijacked by the shipping company, and we had to pay like double what it was for, and there's all this other stuff. So we came in, and then all of a sudden we were like in more debt that we've been in a long time, and have been just like plugging the holes of debt in the
Yeah.
last like 7 months, just plugging all these holes. And so while I've made really good money at Lumina and my agency, I've used a lot of that to plug a lot of our family holes while we're scaling ourselves out of it.
Yeah.
Fast forward to a month and a half ago, my husband also has been really hustling to help us out. And we were able to pay like 90% of that debt off by last month. And so
Wow.
part of this is like this reactivation of what we're both capable of. We
Yeah.
can do hard things. We can do
Yeah.
hard things that we're choosing to do, and not just hard things that are forced on us, like cancer.
Uh-huh.
And betting on ourselves will always be the best option. And so what does that look like? It looks like, okay, I am going to take my commissions from this next upcoming one, which I would normally pay my kids' tuition with, and put it on my leads on my first week of pipeline 2 weeks ago. And I'm going to trust that pipeline's going to pay for 4 months of school for my kids. Their tuition is a little under $3,000 a month, because the school is amazing and it's worth it. And we would have never been able to afford a school like this in the States, but here we can. And it's British. It's a British school. It's Cambridge.
Oh.
So my children come back saying like, that's brilliant, Mom. Or I don't know. We go on a side topic on that. So I did. And I blanked for the first week of March I keep thinking it's March because it's winter here. It's August.
This. Yeah.
First week of August was first week of second semester. So I called, I dialed, I started my pipeline Saturday.
Yeah.
Okay. And by the by the next Saturday, I had put in over 10,000 in APV. Still on the same schedule, getting the kids back into school, figuring out like logistics already. It's Thursday. I've put in a little over 6,000. I've already issue paid probably 9,000 just for the month of what I've written for the month, not even outstanding policies that I have. And so I'm saying all that because I thought I was taking a bet on myself, but really I'm not, because I have the best leads in the business. They keep dropping in. I did fit my, what I've done is 15 general life leads a week for the 4 weeks. And I was like, man, I really hope I pay this off. I've got like over 4 grand sitting in my bank account right now that I'm just holding on to because I am going to pay my kids' tuition. That's number one. But I'm also putting that padding in because the next pipeline I do is going to be 20 leads. And that's how
Right.
I'm going to scale myself. If I'm going to get
Yeah.
myself to 40,000, it's just putting more into my pipeline that's guaranteeing me those sales. Like if I can put 10,000 in a week, that's my 40,000. Maybe I don't have to wait till November.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
get to condense timelines,
Well, this,
which I love condensing timelines.
and I love that too, but this is exactly why I did it in a 4-week format instead of just a
I love
subscription,
it.
because it helps you really get to grips with where your numbers are, what is working, what isn't working. Am I in sales here, or am I losing stuff here? Or, it gives you the opportunity also, now you know your numbers, like clearly you can do what you're doing, which is, right, I've already made my money back and more, and I've got buffer. Perfect. Now I've got a goal that I want to reach, and this is a time scale. So the next 4 months or 4 weeks, sorry, I'm going to commit to a slightly bigger outlay, but I know based on previous data that that's
Exactly.
comfortable because it's proven over a long period of time, which is going to be 30 days. You're going to smash past probably 30
Yeah.
at the, there you go, at this
It's
rate.
really fun. And I think the cool thing too is like, I've heard other people on these podcasts talk about it and other trainings that it's like when you trust yourself and what your capacity is, and then you push it further and you make a big bold move, and then you show yourself that thing in so many ways, making this an investment in myself
Mhm.
by being like, okay, I'm going for it with these leads. First of all, I trust you because you're so involved with your business and you have an open door and you're a good listener. I was on, your call a couple weeks ago of like, what can we improve? And the fact that your posture was like, tell me more and not defensive
Mhm.
is unique in the field, right? When you have a business, you want to defend your business. It's your baby. But one of the reasons I chose our IMO and one of the reasons I love Razor Ridge is because the leadership understands that our success only comes from happy agents, and happy agents are helping other people. They are literally transforming lives for the clients that they're talking to. And so, how can we make this better for you? And truly, the fact that they're 80 to 90 bucks a lead for the higher level leads will always mean, in my opinion, that the people who are getting those are the most invested in their client's success too,
Mhm.
because we're willing to pay to talk to those people. And
Yeah.
we know that we're the right people for them to talk to. And so
Yeah.
there isn't going to be as much competition for those leads, or maybe there will be. And that means you get to grow really, really big and we all get to take advantage of that too. But I guess what I'm saying is like, going into pipeline, committing to doing pipeline. I'm still working on A2P compliance stuff with Bryant for the edge. To me, it's one, I get to own the leads. Two, I get to talk to them how I want to talk to them. Three, I get time back in my day. I'm
Yeah.
much less stressed because I know the way I set mine was the other thing that you can do is set how many leads you want to drop a day.
Yes.
And so mine are at 4 a day. I love that. Like the fact that I can decide, do I want more days with leads dropping in so I have time to work those? Do I want to front load my week and have like
Yep.
5 or 8 leads drop in Monday, Tuesday, a little on Wednesday, and then I'm working them? Like you get to play with your strategy a little bit in that way, which I think is awesome. But I do 4 a day, and that means I know that once if I don't have my fourth one, it's coming.
Yeah.
So I need to be mindful of that. And if I have had it come, dude, the rest of my day is so much easier because I know that I just need to call them. I'll get them. I've got 4 more coming tomorrow. I don't have commission breath. It's really, really sweet. And then the bonus leads are there. Like if you don't meet your goals, great. Go buy yourself some bonus leads you can dial right away. Set a
Yeah.
couple appointments and make your goal.
Yeah. And that's so beautifully put, in the sense of, because you have, like, for you only want to work a certain amount of hours per day because that's what you want to do, which is perfect. That's the whole point of getting in this industry. You earn the right to set your schedule effectively, which you've done. And inadvertently, I didn't even realize, by you knowing when the last lead has hit, like you did yesterday, last lead hit, you got 2 appointments and one's texting, one no contact for now. Okay, you're done. That's it. Now go on your day. There's no stress. There's no, I need to dial more. I need to buy more leads. I haven't hit my 100 dials today. Therefore, and I think in some senses, I'm not saying that any of that is bad at all. There's a place for that, but certainly, as rightly pointed out, when you're going towards the premium and sort of MP side, they're built for certain types of people who have spent time, getting all the objections, really honing their skill set. Because I'm sure the people you're speaking to, your underwriting allows you to push them into the right place real fast. And you
Really
might have
fast.
people
Yeah.
who have, very advanced cases that needs a bit of time, that will need probably a bit of underwriting as well. But you might have a few of those slam dunks that, I just want a 20-year term that's got the benefits. Boom. There you go. Job done. But ultimately, you know where to put people so you can extract as much value from the leads. Whereas, sometimes people might think, oh, it's a premium lead, I can spend loads of money and it's going to work. It only will work with the skill set of the agent too. And that's an important caveat that I think you've absolutely nailed on the head. So I want to talk quickly about your approach. And obviously it sounds relatively simple and easy, which I like, but more about the referrals, because you've spoken to me about, you've noticed that your clients are very quickly handing over their children or other people within their ecosystem. Like, how are you getting those referrals? Are you asking for them, or are they just literally like, hey, I like you, here's some other people that you should speak to?
I mean, I don't ask for them in the way that's like, do you have any referrals for me? I only do that to my friends. When my friends reach out and they ask for it because they don't understand, like I just wrote this sweet couple that are really sweet friends of mine in California. And I was like, guys, tell all I'm licensed in 20 states. The best referral you can give me, like, first of all, you're not taking up all my time. They're so apologetic. They're so sweet. And the second thing is, like, you just told me your whole group of friends is trying to get life insurance and grow up a little bit. Like, just send them to me. I
Yeah.
will help them all.
Uh-huh.
And that's the best that you can do for me. That's the most forward I am with my
Mm-hmm.
clients. At the very beginning, what I say is, hey, Ayo, this is in the appointment. Okay. I've set
Mm-hmm.
the appointment. I'm in the appointment. Ayo, you made it. I do everything on Zoom, 100%.
Okay.
If you can't make it on Zoom, I'm rescheduling you. Unless you're a trucker and I know that you are, I do a lot of like feeling out at the beginning
Mm-hmm.
because I am really good at Zoom. I'm really good at Zoom.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
I'm really good at finding out where they're at and like mirroring what's going on and seeing, I
Mhm.
can just catch like, you don't understand what I'm saying.
Yeah, yeah.
Let's
You can,
backtrack. Let's
yeah,
go
yeah,
a
yeah,
different way.
yeah, yeah.
I will say this is just a fun aside, but I had a client a couple weeks ago and he and his wife were so high and I went with a carrier that takes marijuana. But I feel like by the end of that conversation, I literally had the munchies. I was like, maybe Zoom isn't for everyone,
So
maybe it's not.
at least
This is
you
wild.
knew one of the things that they needed for underwriting was marijuana's club usage is fine.
I knew that I needed someone who was going to say yes to marijuana because they were smoking while we were talking.
It's so funny.
But once we're in Zoom, my very first thing is I text them my card again, even though I've already sent it to them. And I'm like, here's my card. That's my face. It's all my info. Most important thing on there is my national producer number. That is like my one license number. I'm licensed in over 20 states. So, I'm helping you in North Carolina right now, but I work in all different states. And that one number attaches to all those licenses. So you can find me online. I'm a bit of an insurance nerd. I post all the time. So they know that at the beginning of the conversation. So by the end of the conversation, I'm telling them, okay, our next steps are once you get approved, we're going to do a quick 5-minute overview of that.
Yeah.
Just a policy review over the phone. We don't have to get on Zoom again. And then we're going to do this thing called an ERS. Okay. It's an emergency response system. And you're going to give me like the 5 people in your life that need to know that you have this policy because
Hmm.
you have it with living benefits. So most likely the bottom's going to fall out before you die. And
Yes.
your job is to figure out what you need to do to get better. Their job is to call me and for me to start the claim for you. Okay. So
Perfect.
that's what we're going to do on the next side.
Love that.
I do the policy review and I get the emergency response system. But when I say that, they're like, actually, yes, it's going to be my kids. And actually, you need to talk to them about life insurance too, because they don't have any. Like, that is the open door for them to tell me that they need to give me a referral.
That's brilliant.
You know what I mean?
Brilliant. Because they are open, they are giving you, and rightly so, there's a process behind why they're giving you this information. But
Yeah.
by them giving you this information, it's also triggering in their brain, actually, my kids don't have life insurance. Or, I've got kids that are adults right now, and they probably should do this because this is such a great policy that will help me. And if they have it, then it'll help them and their kids, etc. And it's not pushy. You're not asking for anything. You're just explaining this is the next. I love that. I really love that. That's such
I
a
mean,
good
if
one.
we're doing living benefits, then you accept that something is going to happen in your life, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Probably before you die.
Yeah.
Do you want to be worried about calling me or do you want your people to be calling me? Because they're going to want to be useful.
Yeah.
What happens in a traumatic moment is when grief hits the wall and you have to put warrior mode on, sometimes you're the one making those calls, but sometimes your community wants to be useful and they don't know how they can be useful. So if you can give them a job to be useful and serve you, they can call and let me know and I can get a claims process. Whereas when I just actually had this happen. I had a claim. We talked the other day, the sister of one of my clients called 2 weeks ago. Her brother, my client, fell. He's in construction. He fell 20 feet, broke a bunch of bones, punctured his lung, has some brain damage. And she's like, I found I'd probably called her and introduced myself because I don't even know how she had my number, but
Mm,
he's like a client from like 2 years ago. So I
mm,
probably did. And she was like, my brother's your client. I need to know what he has. And so we're in the process of putting a chronic illness claim in, not because he has a chronic illness yet, but if he can't do 2 of the normal functions of daily living
yeah.
after 90 days, we can see if he can qualify for that. And she
Yeah.
called the carrier and they were not great with her on the phone. And I was like, listen, you can call them all you want, but that's why I'm here.
Yeah. Of
You can
course.
call me and I
Yeah.
can do all of that
Yeah.
too.
Yeah.
Okay. And if you have to be on the phone, you can call me and we'll call together.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's
You
such a
know,
good
that,
line for the client or the claimant, shall we say, because they can trust that one, you know what you're doing, but two, you're putting them at ease, being like, that's my job. That's why I'm here. That's why I'm, your person's client. And I think that's such a great way to build that relationship and just get referrals because you're coming in with the posture of helping rather than taking. And by doing that, people are more receptive to opening up naturally because, yeah, I like people who want to help me and I'll help them who help me, right? It's just a
yeah.
very, very human nature to help those who are trying to help you as well.
And I think, I've had to learn, it's been a really hard lesson because like I said, I'm like a nerd. My, my Achilles heel is that I want to over explain
Hmm.
because there's so many great options. Like you should know all of your options. And what I've had to learn over time is like with this, I'm working with this couple, put 2 policies in on them. They're from last week. They're from the pipeline. She's 59. No, she's 52. He's 47. They own a small business. They are overextended. They make really good money, but they have a lot of liabilities,
Right.
properties, the business,
Yeah.
things like that.
Hmm.
And so our conversation was like, listen, step 1, life insurance. Okay.
Yes.
We're getting $1 million on your husband immediately because he's
Yeah.
a mechanic. And if he dies, you're screwed.
Yeah.
Or if he's out of work for a disability or something. Step 2 is we're going to look at infinite banking because he needs to be able to protect himself financially too and protect the bank. And you can do it that way. And so when we got into that conversation of like, this is our step 1, this is what we're solving today. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Step 2, we're going to look at how we can solve for the business solvency. And step 3 is we're going to get you with one of our subject matter experts for investments, for tax-free retirement, things like that. I always like to leverage other people on there because I really believe that even though I know the stuff, it built another level of trust,
Yeah.
bringing another person into the conversation because you're handling so many things there. And
Yeah.
they like to know that they have it. Like everybody likes to have a team, a
Yeah.
team of
Well,
people
got a
working
team
for them.
working for them. Yeah.
And whenever I go into that, whenever I'm like, okay, step 1 is today's worry, right?
Yeah.
Is this. Step 2 is this other thing. Inevitably, they say, oh my gosh, my kids need to have that. And they're like 30, 29, 28. I bet it's really cheap for them. And I'm like, it's 100% cheap for
Okay.
them. They should have an infinite bank instead of normal life insurance.
Yes.
And so like educating them just that little extra, but letting them know plans helps them be like, I want my kids to have, I didn't know about that at that age. My kids should have that. And if they don't want to pay for it, I will until they can take it over. And then they have their first kid and they realize this is important. And so for me, it's less about asking for the referral and it's more about educating my clients
Yeah.
because the thing I hear the most is, thank you so much for taking the time to explain all of this to me. I've had this conversation, I don't know how many times, and no one's ever made it as clear as you have. Because I ask a lot of questions, I start off with saying, you reached out about life insurance with living benefits. What does that mean to you? Tell me
Yeah.
what you think that means, because I want to know what we're both working with.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And then I explain, and then I fill in the gaps from there,
Yeah. Yeah.
but they get to take ownership all along the way
Mm-hmm.
and just giving people that power. I've owned a couple businesses in the past, different Amazon business, things like that. And when we were building those and we lived in Nashville, we were doing the StoryBrand, Donald Miller StoryBrand mindset to all of that. My husband is a branding expert. So obviously for him, it was like a big thing. And the goal of a StoryBrand methodology is not that I am the hero. I am actually the guide so that my client gets to be the
Yeah.
hero.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so when you position that, like, your family's going to be so happy, they're going to be so blessed. I'm so grateful that I got to be the one to help you get this and like position myself as their guide.
Mm-hmm.
They get to feel all of that pride in being the hero of their family financially. And I don't get a lot of chargebacks. I don't get a lot of cancellations.
Makes total
So
sense. Total
it's just
sense.
learning those little, but it's an accumulation over time.
Yeah, of course. Of
So,
course. And you touched on something which I actually wanted to go into really quickly before we go to a rapid fire round, and that's advanced market pivots. So clearly, like you said, one of your clients, although he earns or they earn really good money, high liabilities, but they're earning really good money, right? How much more are you seeing yourself pivot to advanced markets with the sort of premium and MP leads versus potentially what you've been working with in the past?
mm, it's a great question. My goal is to not be in the field my whole life. If you work life insurance and mortgage protection leads your whole life, you're going to be in the field your whole life
Mm-hmm.
because at the most you're going to have a great sale is like 3,500, maybe 6,500 APV. And if
Yeah.
your brokerage is generous, you're making 80 to 100 and something percent of that. That's cool.
Yeah.
But I want a big fat juicy agency. And so I can't live off of lower APVs forever.
Yeah.
So moving into advanced market, challenging myself to learn those things. That's actually why I chose the IMO I did because of all of the advanced market access I have with very little need for a degree. Like
Yes.
we even do our own annuity training. Amazing.
Yeah.
So my goal is to get myself to being a subject matter expert by the middle of next year, not just for my team, but also because then I can just gently guide people more. Right
Yeah.
now I have fantastic people I get to leverage and we split it 60-40 and that's worth it. So you still get money off of that. But my long-term goal has always been subject matter expert so that I'm working cases that have a higher return of investment but not because I'm just planning on working those, because I actually want to lead a large team. I
Makes
want to
sense.
coach people. I want my agents' lives to change. I want to be available to them. I had an agent yesterday. We had our team call and she was like, "You set 17 appointments last week and you sat 12? How did you have time to respond to all of my crazy questions?"
If
And it's because I'm working Razor Ridge leads. I have time. I'm not on the phone all the time dialing. I'm setting appointments for people who want to be there. And if they don't show up, most of the time, they actually reschedule. They
yes,
actually tell me I'm not going to be able to make it. I'm sorry. They don't just ghost me. And
yes,
if they ghost me, it's because I kind of knew they were going to ghost me.
hmm
And so it gives me time to coach my agents and to be involved. And it's giving me back. The way I try and structure my week is dialing on Saturday for a couple of days, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday appointments, Thursday, Friday is admin and recruiting heavy. And so it gives me that capacity to structure that way 80% of the time and having higher caseloads, advanced market annuities will ultimately fund that a lot for me. I'll always be working, you know, mortgage protection, general life, premium life, but hopefully to a small degree so that I can be in the field to show my agents how it's done,
yeah,
but prioritize building other people. So I think moving into that, one of the things I was talking with someone recently was like, I'm I wish my team was growing faster,
hmm
but I also have learned the mindset of the person I want to work with is a financial advisor. I want a
mm,
bunch of financial advisors because if I'm working side by side with a bunch of people who want to be financial advisors, they're going to stick around.
yeah,
If I'm working with people who just want to be able to side hustle,
yeah,
they're going to wait till they're going to see the next side hustle come up and peace out. And
yeah,
I'll get a couple first time writers ready to write. The numbers on the leaderboard will look cool, but I won't have colleagues who care about their clients enough
yeah,
to be in relationship with them for a long time.
yeah,
That's who I'm trying to attract, you
yes,
know?
yeah. That makes so much sense. And I guess as you go towards your 40K a month target, having that subject matter expert opportunity is greater because you just become more efficient. One case, I think you've got a case that's what, 10K or something that's lining up or, and these start to build. They take a bit of time to get through underwriting, clearly, but the benefit is when they do hit and you stack a lot of them up, then next few months, as long as they go through fine, the next few months, you can almost plan ahead. You can say, okay, roughly, let's say half of these go through. Well, that's an extra 25K before I even start the month, right? And then you're slowly building this back end money with some front end short wins. So yeah, that makes total sense. And good thing about the raise the premiums and the MPs is that more likely there's more propensity for these leads to have something that you can do with advanced markets. But we will be releasing an advanced market lead sometime soon as well.
Say just one final thing. This is my first time doing general premium or general life premium. Am I saying that right?
Nothing. Yeah.
I did them for a short stint and I've always been on mortgage protection. I really like the general life because it's helping me accomplish the goals that I have right now. But
hmm
the reason I love mortgage protection is because if you're talking to someone who has a mortgage, they know how to look at their budget. They
Yeah.
know what their assets are, they know what their liabilities are. So your ability to pivot them to a subject matter expert is a little bit easier because
Yeah.
they already understand that they're investing in their home. They understand they had to get approved for
hmm
credit in order to get that loan. So
Very
you're
true.
working with another level of financial acumen
hmm
so that when you can also be like, and would you like to pay that off in 9 years instead of
Yeah.
30?
You're like,
They're like,
so,
"Oh my gosh, I would love that. Could you please?" And it doesn't cost me any extra after what I just went 3,000 pages I had to sign my life over to for this thing. Yes, it would. So that's why I've always recommended people towards mortgage protection because you're dealing with most of the time, a different mindset in your client too that opens the door to that. I've been fortunate enough that I think through my skills of learning and developing and learning how to pull those conversations out of clients, I can be like, you know what? I'm super interested in an infinite bank for you. Can we set another I want to talk with you about that in the future. I think it'll ruin our conversation right now because you're going to be like, my brain's exploding.
Yeah, yeah, of
And it's
course.
not here to solve today's problem, but
Yeah,
I think it would solve some problems for you in the future.
yeah,
And by the time I bring that in, I've built trust in the conversation so that I can do that. So
that's perfect.
that's my 2 cents on that one.
Love that. Love that. Some great advice. Honestly, some great advice. Now we get into the rapid fire round. Hope you're ready. So just one word answers or quick answers for these. So one word for the difference between old razor and razor now.
Mm. Okay, I'll be nice. Better, better
Sporadic.
quality all around.
Perfect. Love that. A sporadic orders or a weekly subscription.
Weekly subscription.
First 5 words out of your mouth on a call.
What do you think the answer is?
Hi, my
I
name.
always say, hey, how are you, Ayo? This is Alyssa at Lumina. You just reached out about life insurance. What can I do for you?
And then let them speak. That's it. Literally the best intro ever. Biggest myth about buying leads.
Biggest myth about buying leads that you should work for someone who buys your leads for you. You should buy your own leads.
Definitely buy your own leads.
Control your own pipeline.
Control everything. Yeah, I completely agree.
Yeah,
I think I know the answer to this one. But APV issued or deposited, which number do you watch?
deposited.
Yeah, rightly so. Best advice for a mum trying to build this around her family.
I would say the best advice I got was to gamify it with your kids. So, my dear sweet mentor, Sarah Pappas. So, when I started in this business, my now almost 7-year-old was 2, 3.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And so Sarah did this with her kids. So I did it with my kids. And it was just very simple, a little piece of paper. And if I have to set 5 appointments today, it looks like this. And I
Yep.
put it on the wall and I say, kiddos, we get to go do blank once I cross off all these circles. And if I
Nice.
cross off a circle, they come over and they cross off that circle. They're like,
Nice.
right? That's the best thing. If you can bring them in on it and they
Yeah.
understand why you're not super available, that's the first thing. And then the second very, very big rule for me is I never apologize for my kids. I work from home so I can be available to my kids. If they come in while I'm in a meeting, I cannot lock my door. It's these beautiful French doors that have no lock. But they know that if they interrupt a meeting, they have to introduce themselves and say hello to whoever I'm talking to. I
Very good.
never apologize for my kids being part of it. It's why I do this job. If I didn't want my kids around, I'd go get a different job.
Yeah.
But I
I mean,
love my kids. I have the coolest daughters on the planet. And so they just know they have to come in. It has bitten me in the butt a couple times when I'm like running interviews or I was on like a huge agency call with like 600 agents on it. And my 6-year-old came up and then the sneaky little devil, my phone was next to me. And she like stole my phone because she knew I couldn't do anything about it on the
it's like,
call.
you're on the call, look that way.
I could see it out of the side. Like this
You're
phone
just
was just
so
like,
red and sweating.
I let it happen. But it's the only way that makes sense for me to do something that changes my family's life while also showing them it's not balanced. My life is not balanced. Don't hear me say that. But my kids understand that if I am working, they're welcome to ask me questions, but I'm not going to get up from this call because I'm helping someone. Then when I'm done helping them, I'll connect. And I've had to learn that give and take. My husband and I've cried plenty of times.
Yeah.
We've both had fights plenty of times where I've overcommitted to the job.
Mm-hmm.
And that's part of it, but it has paid off in being able to provide for a great school for my kids and put them in fun events. And then, to be able to say, like, one of my kids is having a meltdown at school. I just need to go get them. I just need
Yeah.
to go rescue
Yeah.
them
Yeah.
sometimes. I'm not a
Yeah.
huge rescuer, but I also am like, you know what? Today's a rescue day and I'm not going to have any meetings.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's
All the 4 leads are
why we
in.
do it.
Exactly. That's exactly right. And the last one, finish this. Betting on myself meant,
Betting on myself meant believing all of the big things that my husband has told me about myself.
wow, that's beautiful. That's so
He sees
beautiful.
me a lot better than I see myself. He sees my potential. I married the best dude on the planet, and if I ever doubt myself, I just have to go talk to him.
That's so
And the
beautiful.
man gets impatient. Sometimes he's like, I don't know why you're doubting yourself again. You
Hmm.
can do this.
Yeah, that's so
But
good. You feel,
in a
oh,
lot of
that,
ways, I wish I saw myself the way he sees me, because he sees me. Like he said, I'm never betting on myself. I already can do it,
yeah,
but I
perfect.
feel like it.
I love that. I love that. Well, honestly, Alyssa, thank you. Honestly, this has been such a fun conversation, and I've had a lot of fun just learning one about you and what you've been up to in terms of your becoming an agent. But outside of that, the tips and the tricks for agents to learn why working razor ridge leads is different, why it's important to also cut your teeth with bonus leads and learn the skill sets, and ultimately what that can do as a future life to aspire to, where you buy back your time and you can live the life that you've been looking to live. And what people tell you about life insurance agents, right? Earn all this money, but also have a proper life behind it as well. So you've really given people something rare today, that proof that it's worth revisiting something that didn't work for the first time too. And when you back yourself properly, the numbers will follow. So thank you very much for being on Agent Spotlight. It's been a pleasure. And for everyone watching, please like, share, comment, send this to people that you know will benefit from this. And hopefully we'll see you in the next episode.
Bye bye.
Thank you.
Thanks, Ayo.